Right guys, so welcome to a rather wet but a rather exciting video. We bought another one! Yep, we are really that crazy. Number 4 is now knocking at the door. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through this unit. This is DMS 51400. So let's start by going around the outside of this unit and then going around the inside of the unit and then discussing, what are we actually going to do with this? Because do we need a 4th DMU?
Right guys, so here we are in a very wet Wensleydale outside DMS 51400, our latest purchase. So moving around the vehicle, we can see it's stood for a few years. Last worked in service in 2019 I believe, ever since she's been stood. So we've got a little bit of corrosion around the cab, especially around the bottoms. The usual places ours had it. That doesn't look too clever. Yeah, she's not in the best of health, but there is certainly worse. Moving around, lots of green algae. Nice set of bogies on this unit. Moving around, just squeeze through here. One of the windows has the tops popped off just through sitting and older age. The paint seems to be peeling. She could definitely do with a good wash. Yeah, carrying on. Now at the midpoint in the vehicle, it's much the same. The unit's in complete condition, up top and underneath, which is very handy. Moving around to another good set of bogies. Lovely tyres on this one. And then get around to the back, a bit more corrosion. And there's an 03 here, as well as a unrestored, very saggy corridor. And now onto the interior. Hello, weatherman. Any chance of some sunshine? No, just pouring rain. Anyhow, here we are in the interior of 51400. As you'll see, we've got a rather complete but grotty suburban Derby cab. The main thing is it's complete. As you'll see, she's been sitting for a while. She's very mouldy. But this is an ex-Network Southeast unit, so it's one of the last to come off the network in the grand scheme of things. So it's got the grey lino. I think it's blue baize Network Southeast. Windows not helping, letting water in there. Yep, moving back, it's got the usual suburban leaks and cant rail rot, probably hidden behind things. Lovely pile of cushions in good shape. This unit has had non-standard tables fitted, so these doors have been blanked off and there's these rather interesting cute little tables. We've got the usual luggage racks, slightly different for Michael. All the Network Southeast units had this sort of dark blue, but yeah, it's not in overall terrible shape, but it does require a good restoration. So moving back into the middle saloon, this has had a large table fitted on this side, complete tables in this saloon, so these doors have all been locked out of use. And then finally, moving back into the last saloon, we've got no tables and all the doors operational, although some of the usual suburban rot diseases started to set in here, in this place here. around this wooden window frame, which suggests to me there are some leaks going on back here by the water runs running down it. So not all rosy, but it is what it is. This is the corridor end of 51400. Obviously we have these seats here that are just sort of freestanding, as in all DMSs. And that wraps up the interior.
Right folks, here we are sitting in our new acquisition DMS 51400, discussing what we're going to do with the unit, what are the possibilities, and you know, where we're going to go forward from here.
So I mean, looking at this unit's overall condition, it is definitely savable. We've restored worse in 51412, but it isn't an overall terrible challenge to get it done. Really, there's a few suburban rot areas, probably a bit of mechanical work to do, but nothing major. It wouldn't be a huge thing to not return to service.
Yeah, we would have to obviously go down the entire interior strip down route to actually find those problems, and it probably would need a similar amount of work to not quite a similar amount of work for 412, but probably I'd say about at least a quarter, because we don't know what panels have filler in. So it would require a lot of work to completely strip it back, to find those areas of filler. We would have to take all the entire gutter off and do the whole, you know, looking at the roof from outside, there's quite a lot of rust there, so not a good indicator. So we would probably have to take a strip out of the entire roof, do what we've done on 412 for a lot of it, and I think there would be some areas of framework, because behind me, towards the front of the unit, there is panels have been bulging out. Now, the only real reason they bulge out is if water has gotten in and the interior of the panel has started to rust, and that rust jacking has then pushed against the insulation to push the panel out. So not a good sign. And obviously we've got window frame down the back of the unit that way that Michael showed you there going through the interior that has obviously completely disintegrated. And having looked at what we found in 412, that's not a good sign. The corridor would need some looking at. The cab dome would definitely have to come off. We'd have to do a bit of a 412 cab rebuild on it. So as far as your work goes, I think it would be less than 412, but still not a 5-second process. Obviously probably remock it some of the seats as well. You know, maybe with a carpet cleaner we can maybe get you know, a good portion of them to an acceptable standard. Obviously she need a bit of a pressure wash as well, bless her. She's growing a forest on the outside. So that's kind of the exterior. And the interior, I mean, obviously we'd probably go 80s with it just before refurb, so a lot of the interior wouldn't be saved. We'd have to strip back all these window frames, although they are actually in really good shape, which is one of the advantages of this unit, is a lot of that woodwork's in good shape. The door jambs, which is a little bit of wood that goes in here that seats into the door, a bit like a door frame in a house, they're also in quite good condition, the majority of them. So that's another good selling point of this unit, and you know, it doesn't look too bad. So that's kind of the exterior. We've got all the roof domes. We would have to take 2 of the roof domes be taken off the front to
fit the NRM pod.
Yeah, the NRM pod. So we would have to, you know, do a little bit of editing to that. But yeah, as far as the interior and exterior goes, it's not too bad. But mechanicals, did have a little bit of a scout of this unit before, and what did we find?
It's not in bad shape. A lot of the stuff, being an ex-Network Southeast unit, has obviously been overhauled later. The unit's been running in service until 2019, so everything's been sort of kept running and kept moving, compared to our 51370, which hasn't run in a very long time. So that is another good selling point for this unit, that it's being kept mechanically active, and the systems have been worked all a lot more recently.
Yeah, so I think the wheels date at 98, and they're pretty chunky, aren't they?
Nice big tyres with good profiles. So
yeah,
we've really done a sort of not a thorough overlook underneath, but a very good inspection, and everything seems to be in good working order, or in good condition, really.
Yeah, the main thing that you'd be looking at if you bought this vehicle like we have, you would need to have a good welding team. So if you've not got welders on board, this would be extremely costly, bringing welders in to do this job correctly. So you're going to need to strip this whole thing out, investigate, repair and put back in. You're talking into the tens to 20s of thousands of pounds. So if you don't have the team to do this, then we can. We've proved it on 51412. So yeah, I really think this is savable. We could do it. There are a few other teams who could do it, but you do need welders, and that is a cost if you haven't got the welders on your team.
Yeah, we haven't just drawn that number out of thin air. We have chatted to a few owners that have contracted in welders, and that is regrettably about the price they pay, which is a sad state for preservation. But if you've got no other option, then you've got no other option.
Yeah, that actually might be a conservative estimate. And I'm just talking about people who've had cabs done, let alone doing the full body work. So yeah, anybody would have had to buy this. It's been sitting around since 2001, is it? 2019 since it last ran, 2021 since it was put up for sale. No interest shown. So here we are.
Yeah, a little bit scary. So that's one possibility for it, is obviously just do it up. But where does that put us? We've got 370 that's a wreck, and we've got 412 we put absolutely mountains of hours into. I think at a rough estimate at the moment we're about 3,000 man hours through that, and we don't stop for a cup of tea during those man hours most of the time. So
12-hour shifts.
Yeah,
basically.
12-hour shifts.
12-hour shifts.
Yeah,
No
drink at the beginning and drink at the end.
Yeah.
But is it unrealistic to maintain 4 units? That there are two sides of this coin, as it were. Do you save it, or do you go, how what is the other possibility there? We're on cracking wheel sets, got cracking engines, cracking gearboxes, and this is what basically we're just having a bit of a discussion. Which 2 ways could this go? So we have to therefore discuss the other way, which is dismantling it for all of its really useful bits.
Yeah.
Because that's something that can't be taken off the table due to the how good those bits are, really.
Yeah. If this had been a DMBS, this would have been saved compared to 51370. But there's no available DMBSs out there that are in that good a nick. So yeah, if this had been a DMBS, it would have been saved. We've done the DMS up 51412. She's mint and probably one of the most watertight 117s in preservation now, if not the most watertight. So this one is our next topic.
Yeah. So basically, what is as far as your viewer goes, this is a question we're going to pose to you. What's the right thing to do? Because you can either save this unit, that's kind of what we're discussing, or what is the scope? How many other units could this help, and which one is the better option? Which one's actually going to provide more value to preservation and more security for preservation over the next 25 years? Like I said, all the wood's good. That's not cheap to make. We've had some wood made, and when we come to it, we will give you rough estimates of how much a unit costs. The door jambs, for instance, the wooden door jambs, really expensive. I know obviously you get order quantities, but we've spoken to a couple of groups that have had just like a set of cab ones made, and I think what was it, 200 quid a door? Obviously you're doing a small batch run, but they're CNC cut, and then you still have to fit them to the exact framework. So which option really is better for preservation? We've got cracking wheel sets under it, got running engines, which one's the better one to do? Is it better to take it apart for parts and help out probably about 6 or 7 other units, bar our own 3, not to mention, because there are wheel sets needed for 370 that we will have to source, as well as 412. We've gone through a few of that. We'll go through that when we get to changing bogies, changing wheel sets, when that comes down the line. But at what point do you go, the better, more sane option for preservation as a whole is to take this completely to bits? At what point does it become more valuable in its part form than in its complete form?
You can't save everything.
No,
you
can't.
And there's not enough people out there to save everything. Otherwise, if there was, this would have been sold.
Yeah, it would have been sold
ago,
3 years ago.
Up and running. So yeah, we are in small numbers for restorers all around the country.
So yeah, like what is the moral question here? What do you think as a viewer? Because we've just been to the DMU convention. You would have seen that's at Midland Railway Centre, and we've started discussing with other owners, kind of what do you think we should do? We've gotten a fairly clear answer from them. Obviously, it's within our destiny to decide the fate of this unit. But what do you think as a viewer? I'm just going to leave that question with you, because there are so many arguments and counter arguments. We're interested to see what you, as kind of almost a general public, what do you think? We have got cracking gearboxes on it, cracking engines, everything's complete, it runs, so it would be a simple case of take something off, check that it's all still there and it's all still within tolerance, and then bang it on to another unit that is in desperate need of it. And having talked to owners, they have cited interest that there's a lot of things on here that they might be able to use if we decide to go down that route. So yeah, really, that's the open-ended question. What do you think we should do with this unit? Leave it in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you when we decide the fate of this unit.
What are we actually going to do with this DMS stood behind me? Well, the answer to that is we're going to be